Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Spilling Tea. I'm your host, Tiffany Daniels. We'll get to the JRC in a moment. First, brief disclaimer. If you're unfamiliar with the Stop the Shocks campaign or the campaign against the troubled teen industry, pertinent links will be there in the description box. Should you like to do a deep dive, you should be able to go ahead and do so. Trigger warnings. This channel is marked not for kids for a reason. I do use profanity. And when we talk about places like the Judge Rotenberg Educational Center, you're going to hear vivid descriptions of and catch clips or surveillance footage of people with mental health issues, disabled people being tortured and abused. So if you have young children present that watch the channel that are 16 and younger, parental supervision very much advised. Now we're going to see what Miss Emma has to say. Yes, we're going to be splitting it up. It's another long one. She says, I believe there should be a law for the right of people with autism and other developmental disabilities to literacy reading skills at their level. The literacy crisis in California's neurotypical population is well documented. Has it gotten that bad? I've been out of school for a minute. But it's not just with us that's been a problem. I've been hearing from teachers on YouTube all over the place about kids who are in high school but are like maybe reading at a 3rd or 4th grade level. Here I was being assigned whole ass books. Granted, I was in advanced classes, but you get the point. However, lawsuits and settlements there might be for this population. There is no statewide systemic advocacy and direct legal help for all people with autism and other developmental disabilities to exercise their right to literacy, to have equal access, equity, full inclusion, and the opportunity to learn to read at their level by appropriate individualized evidence-based assessment, modality, methodology, and or program they need. Let's not assume, however, that because we have a label we can't read. My old director said that once in front of me. This woman knew I was autistic. I was her employee, her advocacy specialist, working there for the state, and we were doing a conference over at the Burl, the transition age from from high school to adult. We were doing a small little conference there. All of that. And there was a little kid that sat next to us. That had a direct care staff with him. And she leaned over to me, that boy can't be autistic, he can read. I'm like, I am your whole ass employee. I come to work with at least 3 different hardbound, like history ass books in my purse. That they can all see and know I would read during 30-minute lunch breaks. Please don't take this from what she's trying to say to assuming that we can't read. You all know how insulting that is. Assume competence. Always. But what if we're not? Then we're not. We get help there. But assuming that we're incompetent because we have a ladle is just every single bit just as stupid as not having the type of programs for those who need the additional help with it. Without literacy, how does the autism and developmentally disabled community ever have equal access, equity, and full inclusion in education, pre- and post-secondary, vocational training, meaningful employment, independent living, health and safety, housing, and self-advocacy? I believe their right to literacy is a civil rights issue. But here's the thing. Nobody's trying to prevent us from reading. At least I've never experienced that issue. I've had people believe that I couldn't really be autistic because I can read, but nobody's ever tried to keep me from reading. Nobody's ever assumed that I couldn't read. probably because I started learning at the ridiculous age of 3 to how to read. I have very distinctive memories of that. I even remember the book that my mom was teaching me to read from, which was a Goodnight Moon. I still have very vivid memories of that. Do I believe that reading is what made me what I am? You bet your ass I do. I know that for a fact. For a fact. Because even for the 90s, the schools back then were more than subpar. I lived in a very rural part of the United States during the time. Our textbooks were copyrighted back in 1975. That's including math books, and it included the geography books, it included social studies. Yeah. If I hadn't been the reader that I was, yeah. So I would like to see more help in that area. I would also like to see more awareness that just because someone has a label does not mean that for some miraculous reason we don't know how to read, because that's just completely stupid. I was reading college level when I was in the 2nd grade. Sorry, I did brag a little bit there, sorry. Don't mean to be selfish, but every once in a while I have to toot my own horn because nobody else does. Shutting up now. Let me go ahead and continue. Said, I would like to see a bill that ensures and protects the right of people with developmental disabilities to have the opportunity to equal access, equity, and full inclusion to literacy at their level, to learn to read by whatever modality, evidence-based assessments, methodology, and program they need to get their level in elementary through adult school, allocate funds for direct legal representation, advocacy, and support to those individuals to secure and protect that right. And we're going to go ahead and close on that one. Again, we're splitting this one in half. But we're going to go ahead and close out for now, folks. We don't get very many views on this channel. The few we do get do tend to get removed from time to time. So if you would be so kind, please don't forget to hit the like button, hit subscribe. Don't forget to hit the comments. And make sure you're still set up for notifications. We don't want you missing any new episodes of Down the Rabbit Hole or the Snake Oil Salesman series. I do appreciate your time, and as always, folks, we here at Spilling Tea do hope you have a good one. We'll see y'all next time. Bye-bye now.